What on guys, Commander here, and welcome to my first impressions and opinions review on Solo, a Star Wars story. Now, this review is just going to be it's not going to be my general review, because this movie, a bit like Rogue One in a sense, was sort of a bit of a weird movie for me to review because it was so predictable. And, so instead of doing the what I liked and what I didn't like, I'm going to go over a few bits of the movie that I found when I was going through it and when I was watching it. I watched it as of recording this yesterday, so it's all fresh in my head. But there was a few bits and bobs that I really didn't, I looked at. Generally speaking, it was a really fun movie to watch. And it's really fun to watch, very action-packed and whatnot, and it's very clear the story and how it was meant to be. But there's a few little nitty-gritty things which really just got on my nerves a little bit and made me think, why was that not done? So it's not going to be a what I liked, what I didn't like, and what could be improved like I did with The Last Jedi. It's more of just a review generally about the movie in itself. But first of all, this movie is spoiler-filled. I'm not going to do a spoiler-free review on this movie because there's not really much that needs, spoiler-free, that I can do spoiler-free with. It's getting harder and harder with these Star Wars movies to do spoiler-free reviews. It's very, very hard on The Last Jedi. But, this movie is just going to be completely spoiler-filled. I'm not going to do spoiler-free reviews, so let's get on with it. So, what I thought about the movie generally. So, generally speaking, like I said before, it was a really fun movie to watch. I really did enjoy watching it. The first 30 minutes of the movie, when it was introducing the character of Han Solo and Han Solo's girlfriend, was really good. It's really nice way of introducing Han Solo. It just shows that he's still this scavenger and street rat that we know from A New Hope. So he never actually was anything before A New Hope. He was still a scoundrel, he's still a street rat, he's still working for backwater company, backwater people in his life. So that was really nice. And how the actual story got started up, him and his partner were trying to escape and get away from the planet of Corellia. Now, what I like about Corellia is it's hard to explain that it's the Corellia is a shipbuilder for the Empire, and it's also the shipbuilder for the Rebellion, because we get Corellian corvettes and whatnot. Now, what I like is at the start of the movie, right at the start of the movie, it pans up to the ceiling, and you can see the construction of a Star Destroyer, which I thought was really, really nice touch. And as Han Solo's racing around in his little pod thing, his little speeder thing, you can see parts of TIE fighters and parts of Imperial kit and whatnot, which I thought was really, really nice touch. I thought to start with, it was a really, really nice I started thinking about it, I was like, this is going to be Easter egg filled, because there's so many different Easter eggs. There's literally, within the first 10 minutes, there was about 5 different Easter eggs from the prequels and whatnot. I thought, brilliant, this is going to be a prequel it's going to be a Easter egg filled movie, which is always really nice to see, because you get, I like, let's say The Last Jedi, for instance. Yes, there were Easter eggs in it and little hidden references, but it's not enough to make me think this belongs in the Star Wars films. You look at and this was what was really weird about watching the original trilogy after watching the prequel trilogy. You get, let's say, the only thing we had as a callback to the prequel trilogy was when old Ben was talking about the Clone Wars and talking about Darth Vader and his creation. But because they didn't actually know that was a thing at the time, they were just making it up, and they were basing the prequels on what old Ben had said. But that was the only main Easter egg in A New Hope regarding the prequels, which was a bit of a pain, because didn't know what was going on, if that makes sense. So and especially with The Last Jedi, there were Easter eggs and references in them, but not enough to make me think, it belongs in Star Wars. This has happened to, this fits in the storyline. Luke Skywalker talks about about Palpatine's rise to power, which you then think, this has been set in this storyline. But it's not enough to turn around and say, all of this has happened beforehand. This is what's led up to what is happening at the moment. But what I like about Solo is it has Easter eggs forwards and backwards, so you think it sits where it sits really, really well. It sits where it sits really, really well. You got the golden cube things, whatever they are, so that gives it a link to The Last Jedi a little bit, and backwards as well for whatever else. But it's really nice to see those little Easter eggs in it. So yeah, that's sort of mainly what I liked about it. That it's really Easter egg filled, and it's really nice to see the first start of the movie. And one thing that I didn't really like too much is how they mashed the entire backstory of Han Solo into the first 30 minutes of the film. So in the first 30 minutes of the film, we got the introduction of Han Solo, that Han Solo had a girlfriend before he met up with Leia and the rebellion. We found out that he was just called Han, and he was never called Han Solo to start off with, but he was just called Han. That he was part of the Imperial Academy, which we knew anyway, and he was a deserter, and he was following this group of deserters, and the introduction of Chewbacca. That was 5 major things in the first 30 minutes of the film. Now, one thing that especially grinded my gears a little bit was the introduction of Chewbacca. That could have been done on the spice mines of Kessel. Now, on the spice mines of Kessel, there was a slavery thing. Now, Han Solo and his crew had to go down to the spice mines of Kessel to get some raw coaxium, I think it was called. So raw coaxium out of the mines, and within doing that, they freed all the prisoners. Now, there were prisoners of Wookiees there. Now, if there weren't any Wookiee prisoners there, I could have turned around and said, well, there weren't any Wookiee prisoners there, so why should Chewbacca be there? But there was I counted about 5 Wookiee prisoners there, so why couldn't one of them be Chewbacca, instead of having it all crammed into the first 30 minutes of the film? So, that's sort of something that really did bug me quite a bit, and why couldn't Chewbacca be a prisoner on the spice mines of Kessel and have Han Solo free him and his brothers and sisters on the spice mines of Kessel, which would then mean that Chewbacca owed Han Solo a life debt, and for saving his life. Now, he did save his life, and he does owe him a life debt, but more of a life debt would be on the spice mines of Kessel if he freed him there. Would be he saved him and his family and his brethren, so that's even more of a life debt there. We never knew what the life debt was for. We always assumed that it was that for saving Chewbacca from the Imperial slave drivers, but we never actually knew. So I think that was sort of a missed opportunity. They tried to cram too much into the start of the film and left the rest of it as a storyteller, which I thought, it was nice as a story, but it was too much of a storyteller. It was, by the time we got to it, it was very, very dull. Very dull and boring, and that's what I didn't like. After we got to the Kessel Run, after we got to the Kessel Run, after we did the Kessel Run, it was more of just like a storyteller now, and I got really bored of it afterwards, and I was like, just skip. I really just didn't want to watch that. I got to a point, and I've never ever done this before in my life. I actually very nearly reached into my pocket and got my phone out to just have a look, because is that boring, that dull, and I thought, it must be that's really, really surprised me. I've never done that with any other film before, but that is because it really did bore me, that bit, because it was just too storytelling. You know, it had nothing to do with Han Solo's backstory, and nothing at all to do with that. But this is also on to the point, they took no risks with the movie. Now, I do understand why they did it, because we had The Last Jedi, where they took a lot of risks with new Force abilities, new ways that things can be done, you know, a new look to Luke Skywalker. You know, and I personally, I personally really enjoyed The Last Jedi. Yes, there were things that weren't quite right and didn't sit right in my stomach, but generally speaking, I really loved it. It was a really, really nice movie, and I really did enjoy it. Probably one of the best, like I said to you in my base review, one of the best Star Wars movies next to Empire. You know, it's really, really nice, really fun movie a really fun movie to watch. But everybody stated it because it took too many risks. You know, Rian Johnson ruined my childhood. How did he? Because he took a few risks with a movie. But then you get to this movie where, you know, it takes no risks with the movie at all. There's no element of chance that this is a new way we can look at Han Solo. You know, no, he wasn't Han Solo when... He wasn't the same Han Solo that he was when they found him in A New Hope. He was different. He just transformed into this. They didn't say that. No, they said that he was always a scoundrel. He was always the same person. He was always the same person that he was in A New Hope. There was no risk saying he was once a kind-hearted man. And because of trauma, it turned him into a scoundrel, and somebody's changed his mind, and then when he joined the rebellion, he's come back into that kind-hearted nature. But no, they didn't take any risks, because they knew the backlash that The Last Jedi got, and a lot of people are saying, you know, Rian Johnson killed Star Wars, J.J. Abrams killed Star Wars. No, the fan base is killing Star Wars, because nobody can make up their mind what they want. When the prequels came out, everybody was saying, get rid of George Lucas, he's crap. Nobody likes him as a director. He's really bad. He's ruined Star Wars for me. But now that The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens come out, everybody's saying we need George Lucas back. No. Because, bring George Lucas back, because Rian Johnson and Disney and Force Awakens and J.J. Abrams have killed Star Wars. No, they haven't. They haven't. The fan base is killing Star Wars because nobody can make up their bloody mind what they want. Everything that everybody does is always wrong. And that's what's really irritating me. I try and stay clear of reviews about people ranting about things. No, I don't think that the prequels were very good. Personally, my favourite was Revenge of the Sith. My worst one was Attack of the Clones. And I could watch them. I don't like Attack of the Clones because it was just boring. Revenge of the Sith was basically just the best out of all of them because it is so much like a continuation. It's the final piece of the puzzle essentially, and it's a story that we wanted right from the start of the prequels. And I don't want George Lucas to come back. One, because I don't want another set of prequels, and he's signed it over to Disney now, but. What I don't like is the fact that everybody's moaning about how Disney is screwing over Star Wars now. No, the fan base is screwing over Star Wars. You are the ones that's telling everybody that everything they're doing is wrong. So Disney are turning around and focusing on doing things like the prequels, where you are following a strict guideline about what people want so you do not mess up with the continuity of Star Wars. What's the fun in doing that? I don't want to see a movie like that. I don't want to see a movie where I turn around and I say, yeah, I know this is what's going to happen. This is my problem. This is the problem I have with the spin-off movies. I know what's going to happen. This is what, I did enjoy Rogue One. I enjoyed Rogue One a lot. I really did enjoy Rogue One. But the problem with it was I knew where it was going. The same with the Solo movie. I knew where it was going. I really did know where it was going. And that's sort of what takes the fun out of it a little bit. In these particular instances, it can't be helped. You're trying to fill in a gap in Star Wars lore, so so everybody has to know what's going on, because otherwise you're going to mess around with the continuity too much. But but if we carry on making the new Star Wars films like George Lucas did it, we're going to get it so they're so predictable that nobody's going to watch because we know, oh, yeah, this is going to happen. We know this is going to happen. So what is Disney meant to do? They're not meant to do anything. You know, they're just going to have to make other prequel-based movies, which are crap, basically. You know, it really does irritate me. So, in my personal opinion, Rian Johnson did make some bad decisions with the movie, but, you know, trial and error. You know, J.J. Abrams made a trial and error with the Force Awakens for making it too similar to A New Hope, and he was testing the waters, you know. But I really just don't, you know, I personally don't think the directors are not killing Star Wars. The fan base is killing Star Wars, personally. That's what I think. But one thing that I do want to say, now this, again, I'm going to say this is a massive spoiler. And I'm going, and if you want to just hear the general basis of the movie and nothing else, that's perfectly fine. This is a major spoiler, massive. And when I saw this, I was slightly confused to start off with. Han Solo's partner, Kira, I think her name was. I'm not too sure. I can't quite remember, but she contacted the leader of the Crimson something. I can't remember what it was. A Crimson Matrix or something. I can't remember what it was. Crimson something. And it was a hooded figure in a seat. Now, when I first heard the voice, I thought it was Snoke, which made me turn around and think, oh, hang on. We've got a bit of Snoke here. We might get a bit of Snoke backstory. But then I listened to it again when he said something else, and I thought, no, that isn't Snoke. That's Darth Maul. And it was. It was Darth Maul. And I thought, he's the leader of this lot. That's really cool, that is. And I turned around and I thought, that is brilliant. I heard that Darth Maul was meant to be in the movie, but I didn't know whether he was. That was always speculation, you know. You know, when I went into it, I thought, you know, I don't believe Darth Maul's going to be in it. You know, why would he be? But he came in, and he came with his hood on. Now, it was definitely CGI, and you had Sam Witwer voicing him, obviously. And you had him with his broken Inquisitor lightsaber, and I thought, that is brilliant. That is really, really good. And he said to Kira, come to Dathomir. Come to me on Dathomir, and we will sort this out. And I thought, that is just set it up for like a Darth Maul spin-off movie, which I would be really, really glad to see. I really want to see that. And I think, what is he doing on Dathomir? Because this happened before the events of Star Wars Rebels, don't forget. You know, the events of Star Wars Rebels happened, I think it was what was worth of about 3 months before the events of Rogue One, maybe? I don't know, personally. But, I thought, wow. Wow, really? You know? And I'm thinking, what is Darth Maul doing on Dathomir? You know, it is his home planet, but he's obviously running this gang. But I'm thinking, that is a really good opportunity for a Darth Maul spin-off movie, and I hope they take it. You know, we've got an Obi-Wan spin-off movie coming very soon. That's been confirmed by Disney. There's just been news that's come out of a Boba Fett spin-off movie. I might very much get a Darth Maul spin-off movie. And I really hope they go for that, because that would be really fun. I really hope, because, again, a Darth Maul spin-off movie is another movie where we think, you know, we only know a little bit of what's happened to Darth Maul between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. And even then, it was just before A New Hope, it was in Star Wars Rebels. So that's a movie that actually could surprise you a lot, because you have no idea what Darth Maul's been doing. So I think that would be really good, and I would be really interested to go and see that. I'd be really, really hyped to go and see that. You know, I wasn't too particularly hyped with Solo. You know, yes, I did go and see it because it's a Star Wars movie, and I thought, you know, it could be fun, and it was fun. It was a fun movie to watch, but it was just very predictable. Alright, so that's what we have time for in this First Impressions and Opinions review here. I'd like to thank all for watching. If you did enjoy, don't forget to smash the like button and hit that subscribe button for awesome gaming content. If you agree or disagree with what I said in the review, leave it down in the comment section below. We'll have a discussion about it. I know what I say about the Star Wars fanbase ruining Star Wars for everybody else is a bit controversial, but that's just what I feel. So I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I shall see you all later. Bye!